welcome to our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha television. My name is Bernard Manza. Our top stories. Federation of Asian Bishops set to inaugurate its 50th General Conference this month. Youths take on Parliament, Minister of Mines on the progress of mining sector. And in other news, at least 38 people have been killed and dozens more injured in forest fire that have devastated northern Algeria. Stay there for more on these and many other stories. The Federation of Asian Bishops, FABC, will be inaugurating its General Conference on 22nd August, beginning with an inauguration at the Shrine of Blessed Nicholas Brankat in Bangkok, Thailand. The event will be streamed online and also be available afterwards on the social media pages of the FABC and those of other Catholic news agencies. The bishops have since urged Catholic faithful to pray with them as they prepare to inaugurate the FABC 50th General Conference with the aim of charting their direction for the coming years. Bridget Manoka with a Vatican News report.
The Association of Episcopal Conferences of Asia was founded in 1970 on the occasion of the visit of Pope Paul VI to Manila, when the Asian bishops came together for the first time. The meeting inspired a desire to strengthen the collegium among the bishops of Asia and to express what it means to be in the light of the Second Vatican Council. This then gave birth to the Federation of Asian Bishops' Conferences. In 2020, the association marked the 50th anniversary of that significant moment, and to observe this landmark, the FABC gathers in a general conference to commemorate and to chart the direction for the coming years. After the 22nd August inauguration, the AFBC invites the faithful in Asia to enter into a period of prayer for this upcoming first ever General Conference. To facilitate this, the bishops have made available the prepared prayer for AABC 50 and encouraged its translation into other languages. A song entitled "The Song of Asia, Bless Our God Who Walks With Us" has also been composed especially for the FABC 50 General Conference. They have also expressed hope that the prayer and the song will help create awareness and interest and a sense of participation in an Asia-wide event.
That was Bridget Manoka with a Vatican News report. Chief Justice Rezin Mzigamanda has reiterated that Malawi needs to move fast in order to recover. Well, we bring you that story later. But President Lazarus Chakwera has today returned from Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, where he attended the 42nd Annual Summit of SADC Heads of State and Government. On his arrival at Kamuzu International Airport, where he was welcomed by Vice President Olasao Chilima, Dr. Chakwera promised to guard Malawi's mineral resources so that they benefit Malawians. He added that SADC region is rich in mineral resources that have potential to transform economies, and that the region should create stringent policies for countries to benefit. Still on issues of mineral resources, some concerned youth in mining have expressed concerns over a slow growth of mining sector, blaming top government officials and other stakeholders that they are not doing enough to boost the sector. Through a budgetary lobbying meeting on issues of mining, the youth representatives from across the country operating under the banner Malawi Initiative for Youth in Mining said they would love to be involved in all mining activities. According to them, they believe that they have potential to transform the sector, considering that they know issues that affect the majority and areas to be addressed. We have a report being read by Jacqueline Saidi.
Visibly disappointed, representatives of young people under the banner Malawi Initiative for Youth in Mining wondered why government, through the National Assembly, is still funding the Ministry of Mining despite the ministry's lack of commitment to explore measures that will ensure that the country is reaping from its minerals. One of the representatives, Asante Chiumya, directly told Parliament through the Natural Resources Committee to stop approving allocations to the ministry, saying it is incapacitated. Natural Resources Justice Network Executive Director Joy Chabwera, whose organization is working closely with youth in mining, said it was important for the young people to express their concerns on mining issues as they make a majority of the country's population.
Being the majority, they are the ones who can influence, and most of the decisions, policy issues that affect communities affect them more than the smaller population. So and youth also are very underrepresented. So I felt like they should also have representation. They should also be able to be engaged in decision making.
On her part, Honorable Esther Jolobala, who represented the Natural Resources Committee, said it is worrisome to see that the ministry is not implementing the Mines and Minerals Act of 2019, which she said could have been a guiding tool towards getting income through mining. Honorable Jolobala further highlighted that the ministry is doing its operations in isolation without necessarily involving other stakeholders, and she has encouraged the ministry to consider such young people who have demonstrated that they are willing to see a transformed mining sector.
We will do our oversight role as an oversight institution, Parliament, to make sure that we are seeing the ministry implementing the Mines and Minerals Act of 2019.
Reacting to the concerns and comments, Inspector of Mines in the Ministry of Mining, Maxwell Kudzala, said the ministry is on track in implementation of the said act, but that other challenges such as the dragging of transition from old laws is making it hard for the people to see the progress. However, Kudzala hinted that the ministry will soon deploy mining officers with a priority in districts that already have mining sites, who will ensure that mining operations are done for the betterment of the country. Asked if they are satisfied with the reactions, the youth's representative said they expect more than what has been pointed out.
Truth to be told, we are not happy because they haven't really clarified on the relevant information we are looking for. As young people, we wanted to know exactly what is happening to the mining sector, and finding out from other stakeholders such as the community members, there are a lot of challenges, but they haven't addressed that on how they can tackle the challenges.
The meeting was organized by the Norwegian Church Aid and Dan Church Aid Malawi Joint Country Program. Meanwhile, NCA-DCA has pledged for more engagements on mining issues.
Jacqueline Saidi reading that report. Non-Communicable Diseases Alliance has expressed concern over the little funding they get, saying government is not investing much in such diseases, yet evidence shows that it is claiming 74 million lives globally each year. Making the remarks on Thursday at the sidelines of a media engagement, the alliance held in Lilongwe, Journalists Association Against AIDS program manager Dingani Miti said the universal health coverage requires that everyone gets access to healthcare of right quality without suffering financial risks. He added that since NCDs are chronic, people lead to ongoing expenses which frequently trap poor households in cycles of debt and illness that perpetuate inequalities in health since the treatment is expensive. We have more on this report by Bridget Manoka.
According to MITI, little is being done to address some challenges associated with non-communicable diseases, giving an example of how almost each treatment is of a higher price. He then said when medicines are available in both public and private sectors, they are often priced to patients at a cost which is many times the actual procurement price, saying when originator products are used instead of generic products, the prices are between 1.3 and 3.5 times more expensive. MITI also called for increased awareness and early diagnosis of NCDs in order to reduce the burden of the diseases on people and the country, saying people need to be fully aware of NCDs if we are to prevent the diseases. He then asked health facilities to be well prepared to be able to make diagnosis, provide treatment and care, stating enough personnel and all the necessary supplies available as of paramount importance.
So right now as a country, in terms of the response on non-communicable diseases, I can say that we are not doing well as a country because apart from having the national action plan on non-communicable diseases and also the unit on NCDs within the Ministry of Health, these are the only two key milestones I can see. But to say the truth, we are not doing well even the issue of especially universal health coverage, the issue of financing the non-communicable diseases. Because right now, many people who are poor across the country are still paying out of pocket, which is very expensive. Many people who are already poor are being pushed down below the poverty line. They want to access quality to healthcare.
MITI further elaborated that the burden of NCDs in Malawi needs additional local and external funding in order to be reduced, calling for additional training for health staff and additional supply chain for equipment and apparatus for improved service in healthy amenities. He said a lot of money is spent on treating NCDs for those who can manage to go for treatment, but the poor suffer with NCDs, resulting in poor performance of various sectors of the economy. Ministry of Health and Population has in place an NCD strategic plan which runs from 2020 to 2025 and focuses mainly on raising awareness. For Luntha Television News, this is Bridget Manoka.
Chief Justice Rezin Mzigamanda has reiterated that Malawi needs to move fast in order to recover all assets that were stolen through corruption and fraud. Speaking at the start of a two-day judiciary asset recovery trainer workshop in Luntha, the Chief Justice announced plans to identify judges who can speed up cases involving financial crime as Malawians await the establishment of the Financial Crimes Division of the High Court. Parliament amended guiding laws to provide for a division which will speed up prosecution of such cases, apart from assisting Malawi recover stolen assets. Well, remember that you are watching our 7:30 News Bulletin, coming to you live from our Bishop Navy Media Center in Lilongwe. Before we proceed, another look at our main stories. Federation of Asian Bishops set to inaugurate its 50th General Conference this month. Youths take on Parliament, Minister of Mines on the progress of mining sector. And in other news, at least 38 people have been killed and dozens more injured in forest fire that have devastated northern Algeria. Moving on, following reports that Malawi does not have vaccines for the second round of the oral cholera vaccine, a program targeting 2.3 million people, Malawi Health Equity Network Mahin has called on Malawians to stay calm and continue following hygiene habits to contain the disease. The ministry's spokesperson Adrian Chikumbe said this in the case as the country is still on the waiting list for the vaccines produced on demand, hence expressed hope that the vaccines would be in within 6 months of the initial round. We will have more on this report through this report by Nafi Piri.
Malawi does not have vaccines for the second round of the oral cholera vaccine program targeting 2.3 million people in 9 hotspot districts of Nsanje, Chikwawa, Palombe, Mulanje, Blantyre,
Machinga, Mangochi, Balaka and Neno. The Ministry of Health started with 1.9 million people in Nsanje, Chikwawa, Palombe, Mulanje, Blantyre, Machinga, Mangochi and Balaka. However, the second round of the oral cholera vaccine has been postponed to a later date due to procurement delays from the manufacturer as it is being supplied on demand. According to the Executive Director for Malawi Health Equity Network, Mehin Joy Jobe, it is important for government to publicize such postponements to keep the public in the know while they promote other ways of preventing the disease.
We should not panic much because the best vaccine, as we have always discussed in the country, is good sanitation and hygienic practices. So Malawians should observe this. Indeed, it is unfortunate that the second round of the cholera vaccine will not be administered as scheduled. But the Minister of Health will have to address people to assure them that probably the delay will not affect the effectiveness of those who received the first vaccine. This was also a cause for Malawi as we forge ahead towards the realization of the Vision 2063 that we need to have pharmaceutical companies that can manufacture vaccines so that we no longer face these challenges.
The first round of the vaccination campaign had a target of 1.9 million people, comprising all adults and children from 1 year old upwards who are living in flood-affected and cholera-prone districts. This is following the declaration of a cholera outbreak in Malawi on 3rd March 2022. As of 16th of August 2022, Malawi had recorded 1,073 cholera cases and 44 deaths. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Alina Fipiri.
There are fears of mental disturbance for children whose mothers are into sex work. The worries were raised during discussion between HIV and AIDS stakeholders and the National AIDS Commission NAC National Response Team in Baraka District on how the district is working towards the Zero New Infection 2030 goal. According to the discussion, most sex workers who have kids keep their children around their workplaces, a situation that is not healthy for the development of a child. Rashida Matandika reports from Baraka.
Mostly sex workers are into the business due to poverty. As such, proper homes are usually out of order and most of them stay in their workplaces, that is bars and rest houses. Having children in the business is considered a loss, but life has to be protected and children have to stay with their mothers for proper care. However, a concern has been raised by stakeholders in Baraka District to the National AIDS Commission that the children that are staying with their mothers in bars and rest houses are at risk of a mental disturbance as they watch what their parents do and the environment is not conducive for their growth. In responding to the worries and concerns, Harvey Mwado, Project Coordinator for CDC Project under National AIDS Commission, said the worry is genuine and will be looked into.
Our children are impressionable. They are at a learning phase in their life. So whatever they see, they assimilate them into their life and think that that's the way life should be. Now, if you expose a child 2-3 years old to such an environment that is adverse, that can adversely affect them, they will grow up thinking that the world is like whatever they are seeing, which is not the reality. Secondly, these children are under the protection of the law. They are not supposed to be in the place where their mothers are doing sex work. So we are protecting them for their own good development. At the same time, we are trying to make sure that the parents are not breaking the law by keeping their children where they are not supposed to be.
The Office of Social Welfare in the district says it needs funding to establish a nursery school for the children so that they are kept away from the bad environment during the day, as it will require a caretaker to be paid. Meanwhile, the Office of Community Policing has promised to join the other stakeholders in sensitizing the parents on the badness of keeping children in such places. Rashida Matandika, Luntha TV, Baraka.
Police in Mangochi have arrested John Madi Raja on suspicion that he robbed Action Aid offices Toto and Engine filling stations respectively in the month of June this year. According to Mangoji Police Station Public Relations Officer, Sub-Inspector Amina Tepan Daudi, police records indicate that Raja and his 5 accomplices who are on the run on the night of June 1st this year broke into Action Aid offices within the township and went away with assorted property, among them 7 laptops, desktops and t-shirts, all worth 12 million kwacha. Sub-Inspector Daudi explains more.
So far we have arrested 1 suspect out of 6. His name is John Raj from Tie Kalembo in Balaga district. We have also recovered a pistol and black face mask from him. He's suspected to be the masterminder in the 3 robberies which occurred in June this year at Action Aid offices, Engine filling station in Madeko, and Toto filling station at Mpondasi. And they went away with assorted items worth millions of kwacha. In all scenarios, they were using the pistol, panga knives and metal bars to scare the guards. They also tied up the security guards before executing their operations. In the meantime, Raja has been identified by all fuel attendants from both filling stations through identification parade which we conducted at our office. And we are still investigating the matter in order to arrest the remaining 5 who are still on the run and also to recover the stolen property.
In sports news, Region 5 Youth Games Organizing Committee says the 24th of August will mark the beginning of the 100 days countdown to the Games slated for December the 2nd to 11th this year. According to the Public Relations Officer for Region 5 Youth Games, Tamara Chafunya, aside from sports codes trainings, the committee will take these games to the youth through school outreach tours to inspire young ones to join sports. The sentiments were made earlier today during a training workshop on international expertise from Lesotho are conducting with the Taekwondo team in Malawi. Adnafe Puri has more in this report.
As the days to the commencement of Region 5 Youth Games to be hosted in the country come to a close, the organizing committee for the games in the country have set up a number of activities to add a hype to the games, including training workshops for various sports codes to prepare them for the games. Among other sport disciplines having a training workshop is Taekwondo, which has a new set of rules to the games, and one of the participants at the training, Tadala Ndesale, said the training will offer a platform to be exposed to new game rules and game management skills in order to fully express their potential in the world of sports.
This is the first ever Region 5 Games to take place here in Malawi, and we want to show the world that there's a sport and it's called Taekwondo, and in Malawi we have the best of the cream of the team that can produce best results, best referees, game managers, and the best of whatever Taekwondo can offer. We have it here in Malawi and we're here to showcase it to the world, and we're here to stand out.
One of the coaches attending the training, Taipen Kamanga, said realizing that Malawi will host the games for the first time, it will be wise to play professionally and represent the motherland.
I think that since it is the first time for Malawi to host a big event like this, so we need to go for training so that we do things diplomatically during the events without making some mistakes. So the expertise which has come from Lesotho, Sam Shosho, is very good man and is trying to touch all areas of interest so that during the game time, at least everyone must enjoy the event.
The president for Taekwondo Association of Malawi, Chiti Nkwazi, added that they are well prepared and continue to do so ahead of the games for better performance.
So we are very much prepared. In fact, we also sent some athletes to a number of games in South Africa, in Lesotho, as well as in Mozambique, where Malawi athletes scooped gold medals.
In her remarks, a public relations officer for Region 5 Youth Games, Tamara Chafunya, said Malawians should note that these games are not just offering economic opportunities for the country, but also putting Malawi on the map of its capabilities in hosting high-profile and big events.
We have to have professionals that are actually anchoring these games. So the trainings that you've seen today are to do with the referees that will be able to manage or to look out for these games in terms of the competitions. What we're basically saying is we want that momentum. We want everybody to feel the ownership in terms of those that are in the city, but in Malawi. Maybe just to say that these games are actually big. It's something that is very, it's an honor for Malawi to host these games. So it's something that we should be able to take as a great opportunity in terms of the economic sphere, but also looking at how it's going to lay Malawi on the map as well.
The 9th edition of the Region 5 Youth Games will see judo, volleyball, boxing, netball, swimming, tennis and football being played. At the time of the Games, Malawi will host not more than 3,500 athletes and officials. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Alina Fipiri.
In other news, emergency services in Nigeria are continuing to try to put out forest fire in the north and far east of the country, which have killed at least 38 people and injured more than 200 others. Officials say that 11 children are among those who have died in the fire that have been ravaging the region for the past few days. Eyewitnesses say that many of those killed were in an animal park when they were surrounded by flames. The authorities fear that the fire may again spread because of fierce winds in the area. With that story from Algeria, we have come to the very end of our 7:30 news bulletin here on Luntha television. But before we go, a recap of our main stories. Federation of Asian Bishops set to inaugurate its 50th General Conference this month. Youths take on Parliament, Minister of Mines on the progress of mining sector. And in other news, at least 38 people have been killed and dozens more injured in forest fire that have devastated northern Algeria. On behalf of the entire newsroom here on Luntha television, this has been Brennan Mwanza. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.